This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So we're going to take a look at some stocks here. First of all, take a look here at Palantir, PLTR, Intel, SBUX, IONQ, Target, and TJX. Those two companies, their earnings are coming out this week. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, selling stock. Come on, ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Palantir. Now, this stock, look at this. What a hell of a run it had. All the way here, just a flat line, and then when she started ripping, she started ripping. Now, again, this is the kind of stock that you want to buy on this pullback. Now, I know I've said this before for the last couple of months here, but this is the time period that you're looking at, that end of August, September, and beginning of October, that first couple of weeks there. This is going to be like that 6 to 8 week period that this is where it's actually worse for the market. However, if you trade on both sides, long and short, you can make some money. But if you just say I trade on the long side, then just be patient, sit on your hands, and wait for opportunity to take it long at the end of the year. Okay? So I just want to keep reiterating that and reiterating that and reiterating that until it sinks right in. Okay, Palantir is one of these companies that you want to buy on any kind of a pullback. Now you can see here how beautiful run it had, followed that 8-day, lost it, came down and held that 21-day. Now we're losing the 21-day, so now we have the 50-day. Now, we had this gap, okay? So you look at the bottom of the candle, 169.22, and then we have this fill at that 161.40, okay? So what do we have there today for a low? You had 161.11. So now this gap is filled, and that's awesome. Okay, see, on earnings came in and popped right up nicely. Now, what we're really watching on the upside, we'll take the upside, look at the upside first. It needs to get back above that 168.37. That's going to be very, very key. If it does that, we look at today's high, 172.30. We'll come over to yesterday's high, 177.90. But really, this is what you're looking for. There's this 179.69. That's that 8-day. Okay, very, very critical on a closing basis. If you get above that, we come to the top of that candle, 185.33, and then we have the retest to 190. You crack that, you're going to go to that 200 area, and then you can rally up to 225, 250, however we want to do it. However, you know, right now we're right here, and that 8-day is rolling over, so right now that's not really the time. Now, on the downside, we're watching today's low. That's at 161.11. That we filled that gap nicely. Okay, and then we'll be looking here right to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 153.04, and then we'll be looking right here 152.31. That's a 50-day, very, very crucial, and then 145.06, which is basically the bottom of that candle right there. Okay, so again, you need to hold that 50 SMA. So we're holding that 20 with that 8-day, rode it all up nicely, and now we're losing this. We got to have to hold that 50-day. If not, you're going to have this 145.06. You're going to test that. Now, if we start losing all that, we have this 130.79 all the way on the bottom and 104 if this stock really gets hammered. Now, you can see here on the RSI that it just got to an overbought condition. Same way we'd had right there. And what happened? It sold right on down. Okay, so always watch this RSI. It tells you a lot of things. It's just not, you know, if something's overbought or oversold, but it also tells you divergences, positive, negative divergences. Okay, same way with this MACD. Okay, you don't need 50 indicators. This is all you need right here: volume, RSI, and MACD. Okay, these blue lines are just price channels, and then you have an 8, 21-day, 50, 100-day, 200-day. That's all you need to trade. Okay, that's the best way to do the trading. Now, when you look at the MACD, you can see where we had the cross. See where that green crossed over? Okay, that shows momentum to the downside, and that's exactly what it had. So you got to look at these different kind of flags. When you see that overbought condition, you know eventually she's going to come right on down. The same way when you get that cross, it's going to come on down. So there's two red flags right there. So now what we're watching is it keeps on selling. Watch that 50-day, and then watch that retest of 145. Upside, just watch that 21-day. We can get above it. We have resistance, but the next level of big key resistance is 179.68 level. Okay, let's take a look here now at Intel. All right, here we have Intel, and now it's starting to get a buzz where you know, companies are taking positions in this. SoftBank just takes a $2 billion stake in Intel. The government wants to stake in Intel. I don't want the government in anything, okay? Because then again, then you got to live by their rules. I don't want them in anything. Let's just private sector be the private sector situation, okay? Government, let's make it as small as possible. That's the key. Now, we had this topping tail. You can see where it popped right on up, but you got to close above that price channel, that 25.65, which is basically just the top of that candle, okay? But obviously right now we're right below it, All right. So if we can close above 25.65 level, then we'll come to today's high. You're looking at 26.53 level, which pretty much, if you line it up right there, 26.41, that was your resistance. Next level is going to be 27.55. Okay. Now, if we take this down here a little bit, we have a lot of good stuff here. So what we want to do is then watch the bottom of that candle. That's 28.89, and that would fill that gap. Okay. Then we look at the top of it. You're looking at 30.71, and you work yourself all the way up here to that 36.30 level. All right. So that's what we got there on Intel on the upside. Now on the downside, what we're going to be watching is we're watching today's low so far, 24.94. But then what we're really looking at is the top of this candle at 24.20 level. And then we'll look to yesterday's low, 23.21. And then we have that 8-day at 22.77. And then we have your 100-day, 21-day, 50-day, 200, everything right around that 21.50 area. That's going to be very good support. We lose that, you can come down to this 18.97 level. But again, let's just see how this all shakes out. Now, never got to an overbought condition like we had here. See how we had that, and then it just pulled back. We're not there yet. Okay, so you got actually room to run in the same way with the green over red. So you got plenty of room to run on a situation, but you have to close above that 25.65. Then we can shoot at today's high, and then all we do is we'd be looking for all the next levels. That 27.55. That's going to be on the upside. Downside, I say, as long as we're holding this 8-day. So even if this pulls back as that 8-day works itself up, this is going to provide very, very good support. A lot of people now interested back into the Intel. This was always one of my favorite trades. And then all of a sudden, AMD became a lot better trader. Then the Intel was just kind of like stagnant. But again, as this 8-day rolls up across above, as that rolls up, that's going to provide very good support. So that's what you want to watch on a closing basis as long as that price is above. And then, as I say, 25.65, you have to close above that, then we can rally higher. All right, let's take a look here at Starbucks. All right, here we have Starbucks. Now, they just gave all their employees, I guess, a 2% raise right across the board. Okay, so they don't have enough with charging $8 for a cup of coffee. Now they want to go charge like $8.50 to $9 for a cup of coffee. Man, unfreaking believable. You know, you can make it at home for 15 cents. Okay, and if you like Starbucks, you can go to Walmart or Sam's or anything like that. They carry Starbucks coffee. You can buy it. I mean, I don't get it. Never have. I don't think the coffee's even that good. But again, hey, that's just how it goes. But anyway, what we got here on the chart. Now you can see here how we just sold right on off. The earnings took it up a little bit. This is where we had the last earnings, came right on down, and now we're kind of like a sideways action. So everything looks like is jammed up right around that 92.50 area. So that's where we got to watch. The next level is going to be that 94 on 98. You can see how that's been holding. Look how nice that 200-day is holding. Look at that resistance, huh? See, this is why you trade the charts, okay? Look at that. All the way through, you can't get through that 200-day. So your big critical one is 94.98. Then we can start retesting this, okay? You have that 97.89 level, 98.18, and then we have that 98.89 level, okay? Now, if we can get above all that, okay, then what we'll do is we're going to come right here to the top of this candle at 99.75. That's going to be your upside target, and then we just venture all the way up until we go to that 117. Now, again, if you do have a slowdown, I mean, who knows if the slowdown, I don't know, where I live, everything is so busy, but we have all these little coffee shops that are pumping up here. And it just, Starbucks obviously does get its business. There's no question about it. But, there's a lot of coffee shops that are coming all around. But, eventually, I mean, are you going to go there and pay the $5, $6, $7, $8 for a cup of coffee? I don't know. To me, it's not a question of affordability. For me, it's just like, I'm just not that stupid to go there and pay that much for a cup of coffee. It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. So, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Went a little off topic right there. But on the downside here, what we're really watching this 100-day. Okay, that's going to be very critical. 89.19. We lose that, you're going to come right down to this 85.49 level. And then what you do is we just follow these levels all the way down, which is very nice. 83.19. And then we come down to 82.57. You got 80.20, and then we can have your big retest all the way down here at that 75.50 level. Okay, so this is why we use the price channels, because as the price goes up, it always leaves it, you know what I'm saying, a mark on the bottom or a mark on the top. And then all you have to do is bring that price across. That way we know where your support levels are and where you're resistant. But as far as Starbucks goes, this 200 SMA here is going to be very, very critical, because you just look at the past, how this can't seem to get through this 200-day. Okay, so 94.98, very, very critical. If we can get above that, we have that retest there at 98.89. Now, you look at the RSI, we're right in the middle here. This is not bought or oversold the same way here at your MACD. So again, this could go either way. I don't see really much of a big trade in this as of right now. Okay, let's take a look here at IONQ. Okay, IONQ, I put this up there for my buddy Jet. He just loves trading this, and he makes a lot of money off of this, which is always good. That's what you like to see. Now, what we have is we have like a descending situation going on here, where we have a high, a lower high, a lower high, and a lower high situation, and now we're selling off. So let's look at the downside here. What we're really watching is that 37.25. That's going to be very, very key. That's the retest. If you lose that, then we're looking at the 36.29. There's your 100-day, and then we have your 200-day sitting at 34.27 level. Okay, so that is going to be your downside action, and that's what we're going to be watching. Again, obviously, if you lose that, we can just follow the candles all the way down until we get some kind of a retest, all the way down to the 18 mark. But right now, see, we had that really nice double bottom where it hit a low, came up, put a higher low, and then we had that really nice rally, and now we have sideways action. But on the upside, what you're really watching is going to be watching this 8-day. But now you see how that 8-day curled over, okay, 41.32, that's going to be watching that, and 41.30. All right, so this is going to be very, very critical on a closing basis. If we get above that, we come to the top of that candle, 43.50, and then we can work yourself all the way up there. You have 44.97, and then we come up at 46.82, and then we just follow the candles up until we hit this nice, good retest there at that 48.92. Now, again, if you can break above that, well, then we have this 54.74 level. But if you just take the chart and go all the way to the left-hand side, you can see right there, this was all your resistant level. Okay, it held it very, very nicely, and now we have a declining situation. But the key to this chart right here is going to be right there at that 37.25. You don't want to lose that on a closing basis. If you do, it has to hold that 100-day, and it has to, an absolute must, has to hold that 200-day. If not, then we're just going to follow all this support going all the way on down. Okay, so right now we just have a sideways trading action. So let's just see how that all shakes out. But on the upside, watch that 41 area. Very, very key. If we can get above that, we can follow the candles up. But realistically, we have to bust out of this zone to make this go higher. And this is going to be the key one at that 48.92 level. Now, RSI, well, you're just sitting there. That's not overbought or oversold. The same way here, we just have a sideways kind of an action. So actually, if we start losing this, this will come down lower, but this could go much lower because this is only sitting at 40. That has a long way to go. This is nowhere near oversold conditions. Okay, let's take a look here now at Target. Here we have Target. Okay, now the numbers are coming out this week. We got to see how they're all doing. Now, Home Depot, actually the stock is kind of a flat, kind of rallied up a little bit. But we got to see how Target's all going to shake out now. They've been doing a lot of cost cutting and a lot of sales kind of a situation. So we got to see how that's all going to shake out. But right now, realistically, Walmart does good, but that's usually on the cheaper side. But again, people go to Target because they feel like it's a notch up. Right now, Walmart is getting I don't know, it looks like to me like a glorified Kmart. That's what it does look like. I mean, though, like the Walmart we have, it's a super Walmart. I mean, it's huge. The problem is you got boxes laying all over, merchandise stacked in the aisles. I know you can't, people say they can't get help or whatever. I mean, they're paying good money, a situation. It's just that I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's any organization. It just looks like a glorified Kmart. I'm waiting for the blue light to come out. They have a blue light special in the aisles, But anyway, let's take a look at the Target stock. Okay, so you can have the nice big downtrend. And then we have a nice good uptrending. Low, higher low, higher low, higher low situation. And we're above this key simple averages, that 104, that's that 8-day. And we're above that 21-day at 104. And then we're also above this key level, 101 on 96. Now, that's going to be your support level. And then obviously, if we lose that, you have your 100-day at 99, and then we have your retest at 98. If we start losing that, well, then we're going to come down there. You have that 94 level, and then we'll come down to the bottom of that candle. You got 90 level, and then we come down to the 87. Now, let's just take a look at the earnings. Oh, it rallied up here. It just absolutely dropped right down here after the earnings. And then when it rallied up a little bit, could never make it and fill that gap. And then down. Okay, here's another set of earnings right on down. Here's another set of earnings. This kind of like a flat. So we got to see how this is going to shake out. It's not something that I'm going to jump into and say, hey, I got to be a target. They still got a lot of stuff that, still in that process of like a Bud Light. Okay. They need some kind of a turnaround. Never dabble in politics. Just sell your freaking product. That's all you have to do. Target has a good name. They have a good quality store. I mean, just go there and sell your product. Stay out of all that political nonsense. It doesn't make any sense, okay? Just sell your freaking product. Now, what we're watching here on the upside is, bottom line is we're watching that 108.90. Okay, that is going to be very, very critical. If we can get above that, well, then we're going to come shoot right here for this 200-day at 115.26. That's going to be your target level. And then you can rally all the way up here. There's a gap. Okay, at 118.22, and we come to the bottom of the candle at 119.92. So you have a gap and a fill all the way up there, and then we can come all the way to the top of this candle. You got a 137.05, and then we have 137.44. Another gap and another fill before we even come all the way up to the top at that 142 level. But again, the 200-day is going to be very, very critical on a closing basis. If we can break this price channel situation, I think eventually Target is going to get their act together. Okay, if you can break that 108.90, then you got a good shot at that target at 115.26 level. But right now, sideways action. I would not take this trade going into the earnings because you just don't know how this is going to shake out. Looking from the past situations. All right. Now you look at the RSI. You're sitting at 55. Pretty much that's not overbought or oversold. The same thing here with the old MACD. It's not overbought or oversold. Okay, let's take a look here now at TJ Maxx. Here we have TJ Maxx. Now, if you look at TJ Maxx, I always liked it because a lot of times I'll go there and I'll find nothing. But to me, it's all about the hunt. Okay, but they also have that home store. Now, that there is awesome. I mean, they are just packed floor to ceiling in merchandise, and they get some huge, huge business. We have one here. We also have where the Bed Bath & Beyond went out of business, and then the TJ Maxx moved out of the mall, and they moved to Bed Bath & Beyond. All right, and man, it's a big store. They have a lot of product. They gotta hire some more help because the TJ Maxx needs to be a little bit more organized, like they were at the mall, and get everything out on the shelves, not just have boxes sitting around. But again, this stock here. It seems like it's always been good. This is always one of my favorite trades. It just seems like it does good business, and people just love to shop there. Every time I go to TJ Maxx or that home store, they're always busy. I've never seen it where it was like an empty situation. So you can see what we had was this nice double bottom situation. She's a beaut, Clark. Look at that. And then rallied all the way up here nice and consolidation, and then rallied up. Now you can see where we're holding that 8-day. That's key. Okay, that's going to be key on a closing basis. 133.03. That's your support level. Then we'll come to the bottom of that candle at 132.71. We'll come to the bottom there at 130.88. And then we'll be looking for that 21-day at 129. And then we have the 126 level coming over here with your 100-day and your 50-day. And then we have your 124 level, your 200-day right below that. But right now here, this chart looks very, very good. Now you can see where it popped above, but so far, 134.23. Okay, see, this is why I use those price channels. They work out very nice. Okay, yeah, did it pop above it? Yes. But so far, it's got to close above that 134.33 level. That is going to be key. Then you can retest this 135.85. Now, we cracked that. You're going to be heading for that 150 level very, very easy. Okay, so just always remember that. But just on the upside, just watch that 134.23 and you crack it, and we'll be looking for this high 135.85. And you crack that, you're going to go to 150. Downside, just watch that key level, that 8-day closing basis. We lose that, just go to the next to the level, to your big level, 129.48, and then we'll come to this 126 level, and then we can come all the way down to your 124. But off this nice double bottom situation, we got a really, really nice, good rally situation going. Now, it got to a little bit of an overbought situation, but you can see how strong that this stock is. Very, very strong. Same way the green is over your red. I should say this was always one of my, if you're looking for pure retail, I always like the TJ Maxx, and I always like Costco. Those are my two favorite. Now, Costco is a really good trade. I do that like 4 times a year. What I do is I sell it into earnings, and I buy it I wait for it to pull down, because every time the earnings come down on Costco, after the earnings, the Costco sells off. That's your buying, and then you just hold it going into the next kind of an earnings situation. Okay, but right now TJ Maxx looking very good. Just watch that key 134.23 and that 135.85 level on the upside. Watch that 8-day, 21-day, and then we can have a retest all the way down here on your 50 and 100-day. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after the open pit close. We'll take a look at Bitcoin. gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And we'll take a look at the indexes, which are pretty much red except for the Dow. The Dow was moving up pretty nice. But again, now you're only up about 35 points. But just, I'm going to reiterate again, this is not, if you're not unless you're a short seller, this is not a good time to be along between basically the end of August and that first couple of weeks of October is the worst time for stocks. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.